The news is buzzing with 55 million non-immigrant visa people. Emily, where do all these people staying? Are there really 55 non-immigrant visa people in USA right now?
Definitely not. I think the last year numbers were that there were actually 3.6 million visa holders in the US, which means 22 million are outside the US, have old visas that maybe have not expired, many tourist visas. So certainly 55 million is a shocking headline, big number. That does not mean that there are 55 million visa holders in the US. That's a very large percentage of our population. Definitely not true.
And Stephen, what is he going to do with all the 55 million who he doesn't have it, or if he has it, he's going to throw away? Is that how the news is getting speculated that all the 55 million will be thrown out? Is that true?
No, no. What this is they are going to have Department of State continue to monitor individuals that have visas for continued compliance, that they are continuing to maintain their status and that they aren't committing crimes. And the headline kind of irritated me because that's not new. That's been happening for years now. Emily, gave me a sanity check this morning that maybe we see this at a newer-ish level, but it's not uncommon that if someone got arrested, let's use a DUI, for example, Rahul. I mean, for years, as long as I've been practicing, somebody gets arrested for a DUI, not convicted, gets arrested. Department of State sends a letter saying your visa has been prudentially revoked. And it meant that effective when you leave the U.S., your visa's revoked, and you got to check in with the consulate. That is still vetting as they were in the U.S. That wasn't new. So I don't think this is new. I think it's a shocking headline, and we'll see how the actual implementation is, because that's where Emily was like, maybe there's something to this.
I mean,
Yeah, I
probably
think
they're
this,
counting my grandfather cousin who visited me about 8 years ago and his wife, and uh, God bless them, but they're no longer there in this world. Even they count those people too, I guess.
yeah, I mean, we have a lot of tourist visas for many countries that are issued for 10 years, multiple entry. And so if someone from another country 8 years ago said, hey, I want to go to Disney World and I want to see the Statue of Liberty, and they applied for the visa, they got the visa, it's valid for 10 years. That doesn't mean they can stay in the US for 10 years. That means they come to the US, they went to Disney World, they went to the Statue of Liberty, and they went home. They may have come back later for another short visit, but they'd be vetted again at the port of entry if they did that. But if they've stayed home since then, now we're going to go back and verify whether there's any overstay, whether they have any criminal activity, whether they're a threat to public safety, any terrorist activity, any support to terrorist organizations, and then revoke this person's visa that they haven't used in the last 8 years. Sounds like a great use of government resources to me.
So right now, for those people who are law-abiding people who have not violated the status, who have been complying with the legal status, do not have to fear this headline and the news channels that are promoting, saying that wow, they are going to bring the people out from jungles, and then probably they are going to deport them and all those things. I don't. That is not true at all. Definitely, the enforcement will be more stricter. The way they look into the applications will be more stricter. Steven, can you educate for those people who may have some either status violations or any criminal record, how the previous administration was looking and how this new administration may look into it, and what would be the consequences for those people who may have violated or probably have some criminal elements issue on them?
Yeah, it's not historically what we've seen is certain criminal matters led to what Department of State calls a prudential visa revocation. And this is a really funny term because it shows up nowhere in the INA or regulation. It shows up in the Foreign Affairs Manual, and that's about it. And really, what this meant is you can continue to stay in the US, continue to maintain your status, you can continue to extend your status. But when you left and you go for visa stamping, you leave the US, your visa becomes invalidated and you have to check in with the consulate. So, again, using the DUI example, you get a DUI, your visa gets prudentially revoked, you stay in the US, everything could be fine. Now, once you leave, you have to go check in with the consulate, provide them updates about your DUI, maybe, go through a medical screening. Who knows? But, it didn't have any long term impact. Depending on how they do this, there are a couple ways that this could change that, Emily really thought through well this morning. So I'll give that to Emily.
Yeah, so I think one thing we saw with student visas recently in their documentation, as well as these NTAs that have been issued to H1Bs recently, they are potentially going to use this revocation of a visa to claim that these individuals are now removable or deportable. So there is a ground of deportation that says any alien who's present in the US who's in violation of any law of the US or whose non-immigrant visa has been revoked is deportable. So my fear is, number one, they're going to revoke the visa. And with that, there's no due process. There's nothing you can say or do about it. It just happens. And then are they going to take another step and issue an NTA saying you are now deportable? Now, up until this point, that's never really happened. The visa is just an entry document. Normally, once you're admitted, it's your status that that matters, your I-94 that's important. The visa validity becomes irrelevant. But the statute does say that revocation by itself can create a ground of deportability. So I think that's one area where we have some concern. Typically if people were deportable under other grounds, that's when they would use the deportation. But now if they could, if they're going to be wanting to get rid of people who've done bad things in their mind, I think they could put them into deportation proceedings. And then the other area that concerns me is now everybody with USCIS is talking about discretion. They have the discretion to deny your citizenship if you can't prove you have good moral character under this new holistic way of looking at it. Now they can deny your extension of stay if you have too many negative discretionary factors. They can deny your change of status. They can deny your EAD. Are they going to use the fact that you've had a visa revoked as one of those negative factors and try to now deny your extension of stay or deny your change of status, deny your EAD, deny your adjustment of status because of the revocation, even if that revocation does not have any impact on your actual status or lawful presence in the United States? That's my fear, that that's where we're headed. And I also fear that they're going to use the same methodology to decide who to revoke the visa of as they did with students not too long ago, where it wasn't people that were convicted of a crime. It was people that maybe were arrested. It was people that were maybe victims of a crime. It was people who had simple traffic citations. They were all on this list and they terminated all of them in SEVIS with, again, no due process. Are they going to use that same method to figure out who to revoke the visa of? I hope not. I hope they are focusing on people who've actually overstayed, people who've actually been convicted of a crime. And those are the people that they're targeting.
Stephen,
Hopefully that's how this goes.
Stephen, I have a series of questions on what Emily said, that who have never violated any law in United States, and particularly speeding tickets. I'm going to ask you series of questions within the speeding ticket or stop red light or some turn and did not have a signal and change the lane, all kind of those minor traffic tickets. If I got a speeding ticket, normal speeding ticket at 55, I'm going at 70, and I paid the speeding ticket, do you think so I will have a problem right now under this one?
Well, you got to be careful with your hypothetical. I mean, I learned throughout the SEVIS termination stuff that some states, when you're going 15 over, you get a reckless driving and you become a criminal defendant, not just a traffic ticket. But to your point, Rahul, I think if it's a normal speeding ticket, I've gotten one before too. It happens.
Criminal.
I
You're
think
a criminal.
well, that's the long list of reasons the Trump administration doesn't like me. But I think a normal speeding ticket, normal traffic ticket, you'll be okay. I think if you get a reckless where you're put in handcuffs or have to go down to the station, that might be different depending on your state. Again, to Emily's point, if they take this the same way they did with the CBIS issue. But a normal traffic ticket, you'll probably be okay.
So normal traffic ticket, I paid the ticket, I'm fine. What if I challenge and get dismissed? Am I still fine?
I think so.
What if I neglected it? I never paid. Now I got an arrest warrant.
Now, see, that could be a problem. I mean, I don't know if I've seen that yet, but that could be a problem. You're not trying to comply with American laws.
Got it. Emily, if I had had an H1B extension that got denied, and after it's been denied, I left the country in 1 week. Then I went to India and I got a new H1B. I got stamped again and came back into USA right now, and I'm right now not violating the status. Will there be any problem for me?
There should not be. A small overstay where you have left, you've cured it by obtaining a new visa and coming back, that's less than 180 days, does not make anyone inadmissible or deportable. I would hope that when whatever software the government is using to find these supposed immigration violations, that they look at the steps that have been taken after the violation before they just revoke the visa, because obviously this person already got a visa after the violation occurred. We assume that they disclosed the violation when they went for visa stamping, because it's required to do. So if they've already taken care of it, the government's already vetted it, there should be no reason for them to come back now and claim that because of that overstay 5 years ago that you've cured, you are still somehow subject to your visa being revoked.
Now let's turn the heat to a little bit more major crime, not the speeding ticket. Of course, Stephen is a criminal, and the DUI part of it. That if I have a DUI right now, and Emily, you said that the visa will be revoked, and right now we have not seen them getting the deportation, the notice to appear for those people. You're saying there is a possibility for them to get the notice to appear. What if I got the DUI and the case has been dismissed after 1 year probation? I went to India. I disclosed that information. I got the stamping and the H1B. I'm back in USA. Will I be in trouble for that?
You shouldn't be, because again, number one, you've cured it, you disclosed it, you've already gotten a new visa afterwards. I just am very concerned about what kind of software they're using to determine this criminal activity. And again, are they going to take the time to look into the fact that after it occurred, everything's been already vetted? So that's my concern, that they're just going to be willy-nilly going through and revoking visas because of anything that pops up in the system without actually looking into it further, which is what we saw happen with the CBIS terminations.
We represented clients who had that exact scenario, Emily, where they had something, minor, traveled abroad, got a new visa, got a entry, changed status within the U.S. even, and never had an issue. And then all of a sudden the current administration was like, nope, now it's an issue. I mean, it's not reasoned decision making. And that was why we were able to challenge those. It's a little harder with visa revocations, though.
And what precautions, Stephen, should people take care right now who are on non-immigrant visas? Stephen, can you give some things that you can easily point out? These are the things that people can do to minimize.
Well, I guess don't be like me and don't be a criminal like me.
Getting traffic tickets.
But I mean, look, don't we have a period of sentiment in Washington, D.C., and publicly where criminal illegal aliens, that's, the Stephen Miller phrase, criminal illegal aliens, are invading the United States. Like, don't do things that cause that kind of problem. Now, obviously, things happen. We are still a country of innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, immigration doesn't always go that way. So I do think document, try to avoid issues. And then, keep informed about your status. These consulate revocations are sent via email. They sometimes go to spam, I've been told, and don't always get seen. So keep up with that. Check your SEAC maybe. Make it a habit to check it once a week. I know that sounds obnoxious. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
Can you
kind of.
explain what is the SEAC, how to check? I have provided a link at the bottom, Steve.
Yeah, so SEAC is the portal where you applied for your visa. It's, online would say whether it's been issued or revoked. It should. All the ones that I dealt with during the CVIS termination stuff, we had some that were both. Maybe just keep up with that. And I'm not saying you need to check it every hour, every day, but maybe once a week. So that way, if something were to happen, you can get ahead of it, and the other thing is to continue to tune in. I mean, this was a Associated Press headline last night after hours. I have no idea what this means. Is this them trying to get headlines about how many visa holders we have in the U.S. and kind of drive that anti-immigration sentiment? Maybe. Is it more nefarious, like Emily's saying? Yeah, that's a real possibility too. We do not know today. We might know in a week where this is going to go. We might know in a few weeks. So just stay informed. And we're trying to go live more often. We get breaking news. Emily and I both are active on Twitter, even after hours. If we see something, try to just stay informed, with what's going on.
Emily, if just a normal traffic ticket, no arrest is involved, and either I paid or I challenged it and got dismissed, do you see any problem for them, Emily?
No, I don't think those people should worry at all.
Okay. Any other precautions people should be taking from your side, Emily?
I think just as Stephen said, stay tuned. Connect with attorneys, law firms that are sharing accurate information. Try not to rely so much on the sensational headlines, and get the real information, so that you can stay informed, but also not fear. One of the Trump administration's tactics when it comes to immigration has always been fear. We want people afraid to come to the US so that we don't have as many immigrants in the US. That is part of this plan. And so just try not to be too fearful when these kind of headlines come out, and wait for the real story.
A couple of things that I want to caution people is that if your visa status is expiring, though, especially H1B, L1s, and certain other kinds of visas, if you would get the results of that extension before by paying the extra premium processing fees. Let's say, for example, if your H1B is expiring in October of 2025, and you filed an extension, get a result before the I-94 expires. Because if you get it afterwards, you may fall out of status, and that's going to cause a problem for you. You may have to leave the country, and the USCIS under the current administration, because you are not in legal status, may issue a notice to appear. That may occur, though. We have seen some cases it may occur. So if you are visa status expire in October 2025, get in premium processing, you get the results. If you get a denial, let's say, for example, in September, the denial is only for the extension. Your current visa is still valid until October. You get a chance to refile the H1B. That's one thing that I tell people. The second thing is that please avoid traveling. If you are in USA and you're going outside the country to get this stamping, this is not the right time for you to do it, because this administration definitely is not immigrant friendly. Anything else, Stephen?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Stay tuned, and we have given a link there. If by any chance you have a doubt that your existing visa got revoked or not, by any chance, you can always check into it. We have provided a link there, and we expect that you subscribe to our channel. And all those people who are living in non-immigrant visas, all the people who are green card holders, we want people to log in, to subscribe to our things, and please do listen to it so that we update you every week regularly. Thank you very much. Anything else, Emily, before we